Weather overview, and I'm showing you the setup here for what has given us a lot of the area its first official heat wave of the summer. It only took till September to get it. But we are caught between two areas of low pressure. We have a ridge of high pressure overhead, and that is basically pumping in tremendously warm, humid air, and that's given us a sustained run of 90 degrees. We had a record high temperature of 92 degrees at Islip MacArthur today. And you can see the configuration of the jet stream. And it's basically a lot different than what we've had all summer long, where this jet stream was displaced a little bit further to the west, and that protected us from high levels of heat for staying too long. Yes, we had to deal with a lot of humidity, especially in July, but not the case now, as we are in the sweet spot for a heat wave across the area, and that heat wave is going to continue into tomorrow. In fact, a lot of areas that saw 90 today will see 90 tomorrow. And there will be a threat of showers and thunderstorms starting to break this up, but it's going to be gradual in the sense that the area is going to shift slowly from west to east, in the concentration, that is, of showers and thunderstorms. So you're going to expect to see that chances for showers and thunderstorms are going to come up every single day in the point-and-click forecasts or whatever you use for your smartphone. But the fact of the matter is that the upper air pattern is more conducive for the storms to start in the western portions of the area first and then gradually make their way to the east. We're talking late in the weekend. So tomorrow we'll see a buildup of storms, and it'll gradually work from west to east, but it'll weaken before it really gets to the New York City area. And then we'll do it all again on Friday, but the larger concentration of storms is going to be primarily west of the Hudson. Not to really say that, one particular area can't get one, but you're going to see more widespread coverage Thursday and Friday west of the Hudson. And I think the same thing again for Saturday, as this frontal boundary ever so slightly moves from west to east. And then by Sunday, I think New York City, Long Island, they'll have a better chance, it looks like, based on what I'm seeing off the models and off the NOAA forecast. New York City and Long Island proper will have more of a chance on Sunday rather than Friday and Saturday. But, the isolated storm can't be ruled out. And then we're kind of just stuck in this stagnant pattern. Yes, we do lose the heat, but we've got an old frontal boundary that's just going to sit around, and then it's going to give way to a new boundary by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, and that'll provide the area with more showers and thunderstorms. And off in the distance, off on the right-hand side of your screen, is a formidable hurricane, and that's Hurricane Lee. And the direction and fate of the hurricane past next Wednesday is highly dependent on a lot of things that the upper atmosphere is just not capable of telling us about right now. We're too far out in advance, and this is going to be a situation where more than likely the storm is going to go out to sea. But, I can't really tell that from this vantage point yet, as we are still 7 to 10 days away from any storm making its closest approach to the eastern seaboard. You can see it's kind of menacing, though. By next Thursday, you can see a very formidable hurricane off the South Atlantic coast. Meanwhile, this front, the next in a series of fronts, is starting to move off the playing field and into the Atlantic, and that could very well steer the hurricane out to sea. And that's what I think will ultimately happen at this point. But again, time will tell, and it is something that we should be monitoring in the late middle to latter portion of next week. Now, the Weather Prediction Center, they have the general idea. They are going with the idea that the bulk of the rain over the next 7 days is west of the Hudson. You can see that stripe of red there, and that's indicative of 2+ inches of rain over the next 7-day period, and less so towards the coast, and that's because of that slow-moving area of frontal boundaries that are going to work their way through every couple of days. So here we go. This was today. We had highs, widespread in the 90s most places, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. There are going to be record highs that are going to fall, and we can have late afternoon and evening storms, especially west of the city. Friday, though, we cool it back down, 85, and this is where we start to break the back of the heat wave on Friday. There can be a few isolated spots that touch 90 briefly, but then you can see the cooling trend as we go into Saturday with highs around 83. And then Sunday, a better chance of storms toward the coast with highs around 80. And it'll remain consistently humid, I think, through the period, despite the fact that we're going to lose the heat. Monday, highs around 80. And then Tuesday, same thing, dealing with afternoon storms, highs generally around 80, which is above normal for this time of year. Because don't forget now, we're in early to middle part of approaching anyway, the middle part of September by the time we get to next week. So there's a lot of active weather. There's a lot of interesting things that are going on the next 7 to 10 days. We will see a more active weather pattern for sure. But the main story here this week is the continued heat through at least tomorrow, and then we transition into a more of a humid, kind of an unsettled pattern as we go into next week.